Okay, I have a clip for you today that is notable not only for its absurdity and its stupidity, as much as it's notable for its truly xenophobic basis when you listen to what it is that Tucker Carlson said on his show the other day. In dismissing the idea that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, even though they did, even though the Mueller report makes that clear, even though our intelligence agencies all found that Russia interfered, Tucker Carlson did something sort of slick. I'll admit it's sort of slick, sort of ignorant, and it's very xenophobic, but it is a little bit slick. He said that the real election interference is Mexican people who legally became citizens of the United States and then voted, as is their right of citizenship. It's as ridiculous as it sounds. I'm going to play a clip for you where Tucker Carlson is apparently arguing that everything Russia did, for which we have endless evidence, is not interference in an election, but that Mexican people who come here legally, become citizens, and then choose to vote is a form of interference. Now, you've got to listen really carefully to the words that are used and what Tucker Carlson says here. Take a look.
Well, if you watched Robert Mueller speak this morning at 11, you heard him echo the view of official Washington that Russia had a major effect on the 2016 election. Well, as we've noted before, that is an absurd claim. There's zero evidence that it's true, none that Robert Mueller himself has presented. But if you're looking for countries that really do influence American politics, there are quite a few. Anyone who lives in D.C. can tell you that. Russia does not make the list. Mexico definitely does. At the beginning of the past presidential election cycle, for example, Mexico began what Bloomberg News described as an unprecedented effort to get American citizenship for its permanent residents living here in the U.S. The point was obvious, of course, to make them voters so they could vote to defeat Donald Trump. Russia never even considered election hacking that bold.
Tucker is suggesting here that Mexicans who meet the requirements to become citizens and then choose to vote are committing a type of interference in the election that is actually interference, unlike what Russia did in 2016. Number one, citizens voting is not interference in an election. It's called the election process, right? When people are citizens and they vote, that is not a way to interfere with the election. It is a way to participate in the election. The definition of interference is the action of interfering or the process of being interfered with. When American citizens vote, it's not interfering with the election process. It's the election process. When Russia meddles, accesses voting systems, helps one candidate get dirt on another, runs social media campaigns and trolling campaigns and fake news campaigns and disinformation campaigns online, that is not a main election process. Those are actions that are interfering with the election. When you get beyond that, you realize that this is fundamentally xenophobic because the underlying motivation or implication here is that, well, yeah, of course, citizens get to vote here, but when it's brown people from Mexico who obtained citizenship through naturalization, it's not really part of the democratic process. It's an interference with the democratic process. Now, from a logistical standpoint, can you imagine this as a strategy to affect election results by Mexico? You're counting on people from Mexico coming to the United States legally, living here long enough to qualify to apply for citizenship, applying for citizenship, paying all of the associated costs, eventually getting that citizenship, all to vote in elections legally as a means to affect elections. It would be an incredibly stupid and inefficient way to try to affect the election results in the United States. And if you believe that, you would probably believe the idea, as many Trumpists do, that Barack Obama was part of a conspiracy that dates back to his birth to get a foreigner to be president of the United States, some kind of shadowy entity that I guess 45 years before Barack Obama became president faked a birth certificate to make sure that a foreign-born dude would be president in 2008 in the United States. They faked his parents. They faked the birth certificate. Who knows what the latest version of that conspiracy is? If you believe that, then I guess maybe you would believe that Mexicans having the long-term plan of becoming legal citizens in order to vote is a way to interfere and affect elections. Any normal, sensible, rational person would realize the absurdity of it. And as part of this kind of long game idea, you don't actually need to go to that Mexican conspiracy to understand the long game that Russia has been playing. I mean, go back to the 1997 book, Foundations of Geopolitics by Alexander Dugin, and you will see that everything Russia has been doing in the United States and elsewhere for the last several years was written out and suggested as a strategy for sowing geopolitical chaos to Russia's advantage more than 20 years ago in the book Foundations of Geopolitics. But listen, this is, if you're in Tucker Carlson's core Fox News audience, you probably hear this idea of Mexicans are interfering by legally becoming citizens and voting. It's probably a great fit for you, and it's probably the type of stuff that makes Tucker Carlson have those solid ratings on Fox News. Disgusting, absolutely disgusting. But I understand why Tucker Carlson's saying it, because his audience is eating it up like it's being spoon-fed to them.